How's the riding going?
That didn't work, so we had to stand
Yeah.
on the chair. And then I
So you're getting a few rides in?
Yeah.
You're,
I'm trying to start the gym too.
Yeah.
Working out for his brother.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Might have
go
to
this
drive
morning?
by on the way home just to see it all lit up.
No, I've been going. I went tonight just
Nice
before I
to see
came.
you.
Monday night.
Yeah.
So,
And it's nice to see you.
See where you went.
See, he's thinking the same thing. He came to eat the cookies too.
it was a
Crunch,
little cold
crunch,
this morning.
crunch.
I went out Sunday morning.
Rumor was came
I had
at
an
home, so
issue
if
with
you come
my-
here, you can get an
Where
extra
it goes.
one.
real?
I have to wait till
Still,
Christmas.
still.
You guys will have to come over to our house sometime. We can have
And,
Christmas cookie
I
baking.
slept early
Then
at
Yes.
4.
you can use as many cookies as you
Oh, yeah?
want.
Yeah.
If she is in.
And then we'll just send you
I
guys
slept in, so I
home and
didn't
then you
leave
can
the
be
house
crazy
till,
and sugary at your
probably
roller
6:30 or something.
So that works.
But you won't be
I was
half as
going out on
crazy
the
as
state
this.
trail, so I wanted to get out
That's
before
true.
there was
Oh,
anybody
but
out.
he's not as half as
Oh, yeah.
crazy
I
as
got up to
Dennis.
That's
just about to
totally
County
true.
Road
Also
6,
true.
just before the big downhill.
Yeah, we got the
6
hierarchy
there.
of craziness
Those are really
lined out
good.
I
here.
had stopped.
You guys are on the
Sun,
bottom
to
of
just
it.
get something to drink and something to eat.
Well, I saw that on,
That's
you
quite a
started to
compliment.
go out the state.
15-minute,
state trail.
15-second
And,
warning.
2 guys went
All right.
past me, and the kids, we had
Peter,
snow.
Yeah.
nice to
It
see
was
you.
only like maybe 5 feet wide,
Yeah.
and I was just like, oh, like, couldn't hear him coming. I was just like,
I love
Yeah,
it.
I'm done. So I got
Yeah.
to 6 and took off.
yeah, that's- I saw that and you had the other
And that's when I
direction,
had
so
tire problems, so.
I don't see yours on here yet.
Oh,
You
no.
ready to do this, guys?
So ready.
Sunday.
On Sunday, well, I thought you said you just came back from,
No,
I guess.
Put the Strava.
so when's Adam coming back?
after the first of the year.
No.
Ready?
Sure.
All right, call this meeting to order, 6:30, last meeting of the year. I have been working on a land acknowledgement statement to make, but don't have the language finalized, so just be aware that that is something that I intend to do, and I will have that finalized by our first meeting of 2020. Roll call shows we are missing Mr. Schulte, but everybody else is here. Time for open forum. Anybody here for the open forum? We do have some cookies. Thank you for the cookies. Figure we give the shout out for that. Nobody here for open forum. Close the open forum. Move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda has the typical 3 items on it. Unless somebody would like to add to the agenda or pull something for consideration, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I heard it out of you first. Go ahead.
Kelly
Second.
gets it. Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, carries. Moving right along to the Gunflint Hills Capital Equipment Budget. So we've got Paul Jones, who is the golf superintendent, and we've got Dave Tierstig, who is the parks manager, here to discuss the proposed purchase of a couple of mowers to replace some aging rigs that we've got that would then fill out our fleet. So take it away, gentlemen, with what you have discovered and what you're looking to do. My understanding, too, is that the park board has already approved this expenditure as you're requesting the city council to do that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think in our previous meeting, or in a previous meeting, we had talked about, equipment that we'd be needing. The mowers, the fairway mower in particular was brought up. It's due to be replaced, and it's, anyway, I started looking for equipment and basically found a couple of good replacements for our program. They're models 3350, they're Toro mowers. Their Toro is really supported well as far as for parts and service. So, basically those units they're a little smaller. They're a small, lightweight fairway mower, and they also have all-wheel drive. So it's basically, my plan there is to use those 2 units to replace the one older one. That way we always have a replacement, for one thing. And then the other thing is that the program I want to do is where we can mow around the greens, the collars, the approaches, the T-tops, and then take that same unit and do fairways with it. Basically, in looking at pricing for the new units, They're quite expensive. They're like $50,000 for a new unit. Toro also has a business where they sell used equipment, basically. They categorize it by what condition it's in, and so they had a good condition model of the same vintage, and it was basically about the same amount as I'm getting these two for. So it's got a good deal.
So where are we getting, or where are these two coming from?
There, I saw them in an ad from a publication for golf course superintendents, and they're from a course. It's a pretty new course down in northwest Iowa.
Okay.
I went down and checked them out. They look great. And the course down there, their program is that they buy new equipment and then they run it for a while and then they replace it. So they don't have they don't have to deal with the mechanics of it, aging equipment. And in our case, I think looking at this equipment, it's under 2,000 hours. That kind of equipment generally gets tired after about 4,000 hours. So it's got good life left in it, and they're in really good condition. And using the two of them in this program, they'll last quite a long time. So I think it's a good program.
Now, you mentioned that buying them from Toro's used program, the price that we're talking about for two mowers is about the same as they had for one.
Yeah.
Are we foregoing any kind of guarantees or warranties or anything like that that we would get from buying them from some other place, or is that not even something we're considering because of the price differential and the way that we do service on our machines?
Yeah, there's usually when you're buying equipment like this, it's pretty much you're buying as is. Although this superintendent, he did tell me that, if we are running the equipment initially and have any initial failures of any kind, they'll supply materials to fix it.
Okay.
They'll back it. So.
Are there any transportation costs that are going to be affixed to this? I'm assuming somebody's going to have to go get these things.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a trailer of some kind and bring it back from there. It's a pretty good haul.
Yeah.
So I haven't really figured that out yet. If that's gonna be right now, my trailer's, my trailer's all loaded with stuff and put away for the winter. I could basically inquire on renting a U-Haul trailer from down there and then just bringing that back and leaving it in Duluth or whatever. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, just pulling it with my truck.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions or any concepts for this?
No, I think it's a good find.
Yeah, I think the park board has, made the recommendation, Dave has, been involved with those conversations, I think we need to provide you the equipment to do the job, and, without that, you struggle.
Yeah, I know one thing that we had struggled with our existing unit was that left a lot of clumps, and then if you have rain or whatever and can't get mowed right on schedule, then you have even more clippings and it gets real messy. And we had we had nothing on our rear rollers to keep that clean, so we get clippings here and there. And then we found some scrapers for those that were in the shop, so we put those on, and those did a pretty good job of keeping the rollers clean, but they would just give you bigger clumps rather than that. So these mowers, one neat feature on these mowers is they've got these power brushes on the back that continually spin and disperse all the clippings. So, Marlo, who had done our mowing before, he'll flip when he sees that, because that's really the tough thing about, the guys have to stop and scrape them off, and they just don't do a good job. There's really no way to make them continually mow the way that they should. So, yeah, those kind of, I think the guy was telling me that on his other fairway mowers that he has, which are a little larger model, this particular course, he had like 5 fairway mowers. and they have, and he said that the other ones that he's getting, the other ones that he had don't have those. It costs like $10,000 extra to get those. So that's kind of nice.
Any plans for the old mowers we're replacing?
Pardon me?
Any plans for the old mowers that would be replaced?
Well, we'll just try to sell it or part it out. You know, we've got, I don't know what they're worth to tell the truth, you know, but, you know, somebody, we won't really have any use for it. We'll have basically 2 units, and always have it be in a good situation. If one goes down, at least we have one running and could fumble along, you know, for a while like that. And, but, yeah, I think we'll just try to sell it, you know.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns about this? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion to approve the purchase request from the park board.
So moved.
Is there a second for that?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Can you provide that bid for the $26,000 used mower too, just so that we have a record that we did research around for different machines?
We have all three.
We have all
the
three.
new at 50, the used at 25, and then the
Great.
2 for
Yep,
25 with tax.
fabulous. That'd be great. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Thanks for coming in.
Yep.
Thanks for a great year. Look forward to next year. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, let us know if anything else comes up.
Okay. Thank you all.
Great.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Next thing on the agenda is the 2020, the 2019 tax levy collectible in 2020. I was about to call it the 2020 levy, but
You can call it that if you want.
okay, fair enough. I just didn't want to be throwing anything out there to confuse stuff. So as we presented last meeting, last week, and as we've been continuously revising since July, this is the resolution that we're looking to pass in order to finalize this levy, 2019-9. That would finalize the levy at $973,177.72, which is a 1.48% increase. So unless there's discussion, I would entertain a motion to approve this resolution as well.
I'd make that motion to approve Resolution 2019-09.
All right, motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. All right, so next, we have the second reading of Ordinance 2019-03, which replaces 2019-02, which was the original
Well, it just modifies it.
modifies. Okay, couldn't remember if that was the
Still
same.
exists.
It still exists.
You can see there's subsection 70-29H is new. That's the wording that you approved last time, and now you can see it in writing. And the only other changes that made was there's a couple of renumbers after it, or re-letters, I suppose.
Yep, just to follow through. So if this is in fact what we want to enact for this, for the parking ordinance, for the calendar parking ordinance, then I would entertain a motion. Otherwise, we can continue conversation on it.
I will move that we, I'll move on this ordinance for 2019-03 to modify.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Just like to point out that I do think that we're going to have a bit of an iterative process with this, but I have to say, I do think that this is actually working out reasonably well. When you go around town, there's only a couple of cars that I've seen snowed in, or plowed in. And I think that, you know, while we figure out what we need and while the county figures out what they can provide in an efficient manner, we can adjust this as necessary. But I think this is going to be the bulk of it.
And I think, you know, I got to give a shout out to the Sheriff's Department. I saw quickly today on, I think it's on WTIP's site, they have the law enforcement log report. And they had, I don't remember the exact dates, it's less than a 2-week period. It was in November into December, but they had handed out 88, I don't want to say reprimands, but basically warnings of people being in violations. So I know that people were a little bit floored by it, but I just want to thank them for doing the service because I think that helps us to move quickly to where we're at now, where most people are following it, and, you know, we seem to be in a good spot already.
I think it's gonna be better for the plowers and hopefully for transportation. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just, one thing to add to that is that, my observation is that, I think there's a lot of good compliance and that, just driving up and down the streets, to me, it appears that the streets are being plowed and taken care of, and the plowing is looking a lot better. You don't have the big snowbanks from cars that are plowed in that just get left. Things get cleaned up, and the streets, I think are looking good, looking really nice, so.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think they can get a little closer to the curb, but that probably will come in time.
Yeah.
But,
Well, and sometimes, eventually it gets hard to find the curb.
right, I get that too. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Carries. All right, council staff reports. Councilor Moody, what you got?
I have nothing
Okay,
until Tim says something.
that's usually how it goes. Councilor Kennedy.
I have nothing.
There you have me.
It's been a long week.
I know.
Councilor Swearingen.
Since last week, nothing.
All right, I have, today there was a Downtown Business Coalition meeting, Downtown Business Coalition meeting. There were a lot of people there. They were talking about basically how are we going to formulate information next summer and in 2021 so that people who are guests that come up can find out, how to get to businesses and that businesses are actually open. I thought that was a really productive meeting because the Downtown Business Coalition basically said, we're willing to build a website of some sort that then would be like the commercial landing page for visitors, And DeCoux County was in favor of that as well. And then having that page link directly to the city page for official information, which then would likely link to MnDOT or link straight to MnDOT's information so that people can get the actual construction information. But the conversation came down to the fact that the information that consumers need to know to get to the businesses and to know what businesses are open and all that is not the same information as what MnDOT's going to be providing. So they need to be able to take the MnDOT information and put it specifically into how are people going to be able to use town. And I think that's really good. Patrick and I were both there, and I think that we'll work with them to make sure that the plan stands up on its own, but really so that we can get the proper information from MnDOT and have that reflected in that, so that we're not chasing our tail on this one. So I thought that was really good. Monday night we had a library board meeting, the last one of the year, and we discussed a little bit further the hiring process for the library director. I believe interviews are going to be early in January for that, with a number of the library board members attending. We met a new library board member who will be sworn in January. Her name is Chris McPherson. She lives up the Gunflint Trail. She's a former librarian at St. Olaf College down in Northfield, so that's pretty cool. We get some awesome candidates for the library board, which is cool. And we also finished updating the financial policy for the library because there's been a change in how the library is going to invest the monies that are given as donations to the library, just to maximize that and make the flexibility of that money greater. So that I think that's all I had. Anything else for you guys? No? Anything else? Last chance? Last chance for 2019. Well, it's been a privilege serving this year. I know we've had a lot of things happen, and appreciate the community riding it out with us. And we look forward to 2020. We are adjourned.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, Chris.
Yep.
Happy New Year.
You as well. See ya.